What's going on, SE Nation? So I've heard arguments from people saying that introverted engineers or introverted people cannot be great SEs. I've heard other people say that extroverted people cannot be great sales engineers. As a summary, introverts are people who would rather do things on their own, whereas extroverts would rather be around people. As a very, very quick summary. But extroversion and introversion are kind of a spectrum. It's not like you're either extroverted or introverted. It's not binary. It's more of a bell curve and a spectrum. People can be anywhere within that bell curve. You can be a successful SE either way. It's just that sometimes you're going to have to do things that you're uncomfortable with. But as time goes along, you will learn to get comfortable with it through baby steps and through like exposure therapy, if you will. For example, early on in my career, I found it very hard to meet new people, especially in a group setting. I'd usually end up lurking in the background and listening to people talk, not generally enjoying myself, but not willing to participate either. It wasn't fun for me, as, by the way, I'm an introvert. The thoughts that would go through my mind is like, can I trust that person? Do we have anything in common? Is it going to be too much work to know this person? But as I progressed, I've been an SE for 5 years. I've had to do things that I've been uncomfortable for a while, and I've written a whole, I had a whole podcast about being comfortable, being uncomfortable. So I learned to like it. Initially, I started by like figuring out if I'm gonna meet someone at a seminar or at a sales meeting that I don't know, but I can connect with them ahead of time through LinkedIn or email, whatever it is. I felt like if I can develop a relationship with that person that before I actually meet in person, we'd have something to talk about and he'd introduce me to the group and I wouldn't have to be like the odd man out. I'd be part of the group because I already have an in. And I progressed like that for a while and now I can actually meet people and have a good conversation with people I don't know and it's become easier for me. Don't get me wrong, still have to go and like recharge by being on my own, especially at like the global sales meetings if we're with people all day and then we have dinners afterwards. I need, I don't know, some time to go back to my hotel room and just sit and reflect on what happened that day. Otherwise, that night is going to be horrible. So SEs have a few things that can actually hinder their progress, but there are things that work in their favor. For example, introverted SEs or introverts in general enjoy sitting and working on a project on their own for a prolonged period of time. It's not like they have to go out and hang out with somebody. They can sit there and focus on whatever it is that they need to do. Extroverts can do the same, but they also need to go out and meet people. Generally speaking, introverts are good listeners, which is perfect for sales engineers because if we cannot listen to what the customer is saying, we cannot solve any problems. The last thing I have on my list here is that introverts are observants. We can actually, because we're not busy talking or thinking about the next thing we want to say, we can actually notice what's happening in a meeting room with customers. If someone frowns for a second or makes an expression for a second, we tend to notice that. Now, that being said, I've never noticed my mom or my wife when they have a haircut, so I guess I'm selectively observant. On the extroverted side, they also have some things to overcome. I already mentioned introverts like to sit behind a desk and work for a long period of time. Extroverts may struggle with that. Again, not all of them depending on where you are in the spectrum. And by the way, some people have extroverted and introverted traits. But in general, extroverts don't enjoy doing that, so they need to overcome that because we have to work on demos, we have to work on customer facing proposals, whatever it is that we need to do. We have to sit behind a desk and do some deep work, focus on that. But on the other hand, they also have some things that they can offer that makes them good SEs. I mean, the most clear one is the fact that they enjoy being around people, and in this case, it could be customers. The more they are around customers, the happier they are, the happier the customer are, unless they're trying to sell all the time. If it's just, hey, let's hang out, let's have a coffee, have a chat, it can be very good for the relationship between the SE and the customer. They also like to share and tell stories, which is a very good thing for sales engineers. If you can tell a story, you can engage the customer in a demo, it helps sell in the end. Most extroverts that I know really know how to sell themselves better than introverts. I used to work in a previous life with a couple of different pairs of support engineers. I had one pair that I worked with that were introverts, another pair that were extroverts. the introverts would work really hard. They were very hard workers. Not more than the extroverts, that's not what I'm saying, but they were very hard workers. But they never told anybody what they were doing. The ticket would come in the queue, they would take it before anyone notices it, and then they would fix the issue or reproduce it and escalate. Whatever it is that they have to do, they would complete the task and no one would know about it. Whereas the other folks, they were advertising every single thing that they did. If there's a typo in a config, they would advertise that they fixed an issue. If there's an important email that they want to send, they always CC the manager, so he always was aware of what they were doing. And in the end, in the manager's eyes, those were good support engineers, those were not so great, even though they both did good work, just one advertised and the other ones didn't. And that's where introverts can learn from extroverts. The common argument that I got from my introverted friends was, why do I need to tell them everything that I'm doing? I'm my own man, I can do this. Which is very typical of introverts. But in sales, you kind of have to advertise yourself as well, internally within your company. Bottom line, each one has their strengths, and people think one cannot be a good SE, the other one, or the other one cannot be a good SE. They both can be great SEs. As Dr. Seuss said, either one of them can move mountains. Like, share, subscribe if you enjoyed this content, and put a comment in the section below about an obstacle you had to overcome as an introvert and extrovert. Or if you prefer a Dr. Seuss quote, that's always good too. I will see you guys next time.